Hi, if you want to watch exclusive content with hot girls that you won't watch on YouTube, namely where Naruto roasts Kushina and Mikoto and many other hot girls without restrictions, then visit my Boosty channel at the link in the description.
An open window. A light breeze blows through it into the room, blowing on the curtains and making them float near the ceiling. Naruto was lying on the bed, barely breathing. Of course, because every breath was given with great difficulty and was given with terrible pain. Yes, his time is already approaching. It is clear, because almost 100 years have passed since the fourth world, and besides, 95 years have passed since Naruto became the 7th Hokage. No Hokage has ruled for so long. Naruto was waiting for his death, saying goodbye to the young generation of shinobi. All the old Hokage's friends have long been in the next world. His beloved woman, wife, children. Yes, Hinata is undoubtedly his wife, but his beloved woman will always remain Sakura. Of course, Naruto will always love his sons more than all. This was such happiness for him, even though Sakura was not their mother. But Sasuke was also unlucky with his beloved. He never loved Sakura, but no one else would agree to revive the Uchiha clan. Everyone considered him a traitor, his own daughter did not respect him. Yes, Sasuke had done some bad things in his time. And Naruto still blamed himself for it. The latter looked out the window, enjoying the last minutes of solitude, and watched as Ino and Shikamaru's great-granddaughter Ika trained to throw kunai with Sakura and Sasuke's great-granddaughter Chiesa. The old Hokage also watched Ten and Lee's great-grandson Isao, who was training. He watched as Shikamaru and Ino's great-grandson with Choji's great-grandson Fumio and Hajime ate chips and looked at the clouds. "Hello, Grandpa." The door opened, and a woman of about 40 and a girl of about 11 entered the room. Haruko, Hideko, Naruto exhaled and immediately winced in pain. "You can't tell me, Grandpa," Haruko said. "Hello, Hokage-sama." The door opened, and the firstborn of Sasuke and Sakura, Takashi, walked into the room. Hideko's father. The Hokage wanted to cry so much, he sees his loved ones. If only Yukio, Yutaka, and Yudai were here, his 3 sons. The girl didn't say a word. Although she wanted to burst into tears and scream "Don't die." Naruto smiled, remembering his whole life for the last time, thought about what a good Hokage his heir, Mikoto, would be, and, hearing, as if through cotton wool, Hideko's cry "Don't die," the whisper of his granddaughter and her husband "Goodbye, goodbye," he closed his eyes and left forever. Naruto opened his eyes. "Am I dead already?" "Yes, he died." He heard. The voice clearly belonged to a woman. The Hokage looked around, standing up. From the fog? Yes, there was only darkness and dark purple fog all around. The owner of the voice came out of it. "My name is Kyoshi. I am a Shinigami." She came up close to Naruto and laughed. "What's funny? Where am I? And if you're a Shinigami, are there more than one?" "What do you mean?" Kyoshi didn't understand. "Well, with the help of the Death God's technique, the 9 tails was sealed into me. I thought that there was only one Shinigami." It's all clear." The Shinigami grinned. By the way, Kyoshi was not scary at all, but beautiful. A beautiful woman stood before him. Her white curls fluttered as if in the wind in the darkness. She did not look like a Shinigami at all. Except for her eyes, black with a strange pattern instead of pupils. Something familiar. Exactly, Sasuke had a seal of Orochimaru similar to this pattern. Only the kamas had spirals instead of heads. The pattern was blue. What is clear? Naruto couldn't understand her. "Your father actually sealed the demon into you, not through the real god of death, but only through a fake. Even Rakudo Sennin couldn't tame a real Shinigami, and besides, Shinigami look like humans. But this is our creation. We created it so that people would not try to invent us in vain as a tool for their techniques. There are only 5 of us, and we love people very much. But why am I here? Well, I pulled you out of the flight to another world and am holding you in a hole between the lower and higher other worlds. Why? Let me go. You still act like a boy. Despite the years that have passed." Kyoshi laughed brightly. "What? Look. She handed him a mirror, in which he saw himself. Only not a 114-year-old man, but a 6-year-old boy. How? Haha. It's all me. I did it to give you a second chance. What? The Hokage was frankly dumb. To survive your life. After all, it was not happy. Everyone who could betrayed you, friends died. Maybe the Fourth World War will not even start. But it's impossible. And how do you know about my father? I'm a Shinigami. And it's possible. You want it, right? He really wanted to. At least see his friends, Sakura. But there is one but. Kyoshi watched the Hokage. What? He was surprised. If you change the past, the future will change. She became serious. Naruto couldn't decide. He wanted to see them all so much, and most importantly, not let Sasuke go to Orochimaru. But what about the future? Although, what would change if Niji stayed alive, and Cho, Sasuke's daughter, would respect her father? Unless there would be a few more people, because Niji would probably find someone for himself. And his friend would have lived all these wonderful years after the war. I agree, Naruto said firmly. Good. Only you will not appear at birth, but at 6 years old. I open a portal between worlds. She said, touching a wall with her hand, which seemed to exude fog. The wall lit up with a blue flash, and already a boy, Naruto found himself at home on his bed. It was dirty all around. What a pig I was. Naruto said and started cleaning. An hour later, everything was ready. Then the alarm rang, 6 o'clock in the morning. So, first to Ichiraka ramen, and then to training. Only, the boy looked at his bag and quickly began to shake out the weapons from it. That's what I thought. Need to sharpen. Having said this, Naruto quickly began to sharpen the kunai and shuriken. He wanted to sharpen them with his technique, which he invented when he was Hokage, but he remembered that he did not know this technique yet, so nothing came of it. Well, he had to sharpen the weapons in the way known to all shinobi. When the work was finished, it was already 8 o'clock. Naruto got ready and went to Ichiraku, and at the same time threw away the rotten milk on the way, from which his stomach always hurt after drinking. So he reached Ichiraku. Hello, Naruto. The owner of the diner answered cheerfully. Good afternoon, Naruto said with tears in his eyes. He sees them. This man he knew from childhood and his daughter Ayam, he sees them alive. And without responding to Ayam's cheerful greeting, he rushed to them and hugged them. I'm so glad to see you. The boy almost cried. What's wrong, Naruto? Ayam was surprised. Nothing. Just like that. You're weird today. Well, I guess it'll go away if you try my ramen. It's free. The owner said. Thank you, Naruto answered through tears. Well, don't cry, everything is fine. Ayam's soothing voice plunged her into nostalgia. Okay. Naruto replied, calming down in the girl's embrace. You're as kind to me as always. Naruto ate his fill of ramen, and it wasn't because he was overeating, he just missed that wonderful taste, and the reason wasn't the ramen itself, but the cook's hands. Yes, this man always makes ramen better than anyone else. The ramen he made became mom's borscht for Naruto. Thanks for the treat. Naruto said, coming out from behind the counter. Have a good training, come again, Naruto. Ayam shouted. Naruto went into the forest. There he trained. Threw shurikens and kunai, tried to make a Rasengan again. The boy didn't even pay attention to the sidelong and angry glances people were giving him. He was just glad to see them again. Of course, the Rasengan didn't work right away. After all, the memory remained, but the skills became miserable again. Yes, what a weakling I was, but strength always comes where weakness left. Hee hee. Naruto smiled, continuing to meditate. After sitting like that for 30 minutes, the boy began to pop the balloon. After 40 times, it worked. The sun was already setting. It was time to return. Naruto was walking, no time to walk in the park. No one would be happy there anyway. So, home, and the children and parents are already leaving. So it's time for Naruto to go. The boy came home, did all his chores and went to bed. And so the whole year went by, while Naruto trained and prepared himself for the meeting with Sakura, with his friends, and, most importantly, for the meeting with Sasuke. This day tomorrow is the ceremony of entering the Ninja Academy. As usual, the alarm rang. Naruto got up, got dressed, and did all his chores. Right after that, he ran to the Ninja Academy. Today he would see them all. He would see Iruka-sensei and many others. But most importantly, he would see Sasuke and Sakura. But this time, he would not give in to Sasuke in anything. Everyone was already standing in front of the academy with their loved ones. Naruto stood in the line of the new generation of aspiring ninja. But you can't talk to anyone, they'll misunderstand. They're not friends yet. After Iruka-sensei's boring and tedious speech, everyone went into the academy. Everything was so familiar, everyone sat down in their seats. Well, as in their own. Many girls liked Sasuke right away, and they were figuring out who would get the right to sit next to Sasuke, but these girls were not Sakura and Ino yet. This right to sit with Sasuke, of course, fell to Naruto. While the boys were being told what awaited them, Naruto kept his eyes on Sasuke. What? The brunette couldn't resist. Huh? Nothing, just, Naruto came to his senses and stared at the teacher. The brunette chuckled in confusion. And so the first day at the academy passed. Although, of course, the first day would only begin tomorrow, but the blonde was already waiting for the day when he and Sasuke would have a fight. Then he, Sasuke, would see that Naruto was a worthy opponent. But he would have to wait a very long time for that. For Naruto, of course, a few days, a very long time. In the meantime, the boy trudged off to his favorite Ichiraka ramen. Hello. Naruto smiled. Ah, Naruto, you've become a frequent visitor to my Ichiraku. Yes, it's so delicious. Glad to hear it. After the 10th plate, the boy went to train. He still couldn't do the Rasengan. Yes, when Granny Tsunade gave him a kick and dared him, he mastered the technique in a week. But now no one can give him a kick. Or maybe forget it? That Rasengan. I'll do it later, when I meet the perverted hermit. Everything has its time. With these words, Naruto returned home, but again began to notice these looks. Looks full of hatred and evil. The blonde tried not to pay attention. It didn't work out very well, but it still worked out. Naruto somehow made it home without grimacing at the suffering and loneliness he had once experienced. Much more pleasant were the thoughts that he saw old faces again. Familiar faces, and Mizuki. Yes, that bastard Mizuki. Naruto cleaned up his room again and went to bed. And tomorrow he will study, he needs to gain strength. Although, he has more than enough strength. Naruto was already sitting at his desk, watching Sakura being embarrassed by her forehead. Sasuke came a few minutes later, sitting in front of Naruto. The blonde decided to sit at the last desk, because then Sasuke wouldn't notice his glances. But Sasuke felt someone looking at him while Iruka-sensei was lecturing. The brunette turned his head and met the blonde's gaze. Both immediately looked away, embarrassed and blushing terribly. So, who will tell me after the theory, what is chakra? Iruka looked around the class. Can I? Naruto raised his hand. Okay, Naruto. These are the intersection points of the nadis, through which vital energy, prana, flows in the human body. Okay, maybe you can tell me the 7 main chakras, and also something else about them, maybe a musical tone, etc. The first chakra is Muladhara. The instinct to preserve life, all types of aggression and negative reactions, survival, safety, health, the instinct to procreate, the root of Kundalini energy. Its colors are dark brown, red, gray, burgundy, cherry. Its element is earth, and the corresponding musical tone is dew. The second chakra is Svadhisthana. Emotions, cheerfulness, spontaneity, desires, pleasures, Kundalini energy. Its colors are orange, scarlet, pink, lilac. The element is water, and the musical tone is re. Associations with the elements. Iruka added, he himself was curious how Naruto knew the topic they would be going over in a few days. but for the entire year, Uzumaki hadn't wasted any time. The main functions of the third chakra manipura: power, control, freedom, confidence, insight, intelligence. The color is yellow, the element is fire, the corresponding musical tone is mi. Anahata, devotion, love, compassion, joy, kindness. Colors: green, turquoise, blue. The element is air, the musical tone is Fa. Vishuddha, communication, self-expression, creativity, harmony, inner voice of truth. The color is indigo, the element is ether, the musical tone is soul. Ajna, intuition, mental functioning, the highest level of awareness. The color is amethyst. The element is light, the musical tone is La Sasarara, complete liberation, nirvana. The color is purple, perhaps it takes on the color of the dominant chakra. The unmanifested element is Purusha, the highest consciousness is metal. The musical tone is Si. But then why is everyone's chakra blue? Asked Chuji, who looked up from his chips for the first time. Maybe because our chakras are blocked by certain feelings like shame, grief, etc., which block the normal flow of prana through the chakras. Naruto answered. Top marks. Irika-sensei said admiringly. Of course, why did I reread all the academy textbooks years in advance then? Naruto chuckled to himself. This went on for 3 days. Naruto was shining, Sasuke was trying to keep up, and it worked. But even Sakura's mind was powerless against Naruto's knowledge. Naruto was walking to Ichiraku after school, happy that tomorrow there would be some kind of fights between classmates. He knew who he would fight. With these thoughts, Naruto saw through cotton wool that Sakura was sitting sadly. What's wrong, Sakura-chan? Naruto approached her. Everyone calls me big-headed, she said. So what? Sakura, no matter what you are, big-headed, fat, thin, weak, strong, you are beautiful. After all, it is you. Everyone is beautiful just the way they are. Don't cry. And he smiled his most radiant smile. Thank you, the girl whispered after the boy who was leaving. But his words didn't have much of an effect on her, she was still sad. Tomorrow is the fight between me and Sasuke. Now I won't lose. Sasuke, hold on. With these thoughts Naruto reached Ichiraku. He ate 10 plates again and went home satisfied. I'll rest before the battle. Hee. I saw them again, I see them and I will see them. With these words, having washed all the dishes and the whole house again, he fell asleep. The morning was typical, so I won't describe it. Naruto simply got up and trudged to the academy. Today I have to fight Sasuke, was spinning in my head. Everyone was already standing on the street, and the sensei was announcing the first opponents. Ino Yamanaka and Sakura Haruno. The girls went out onto the battlefield. So, 1, 2, 3, begin. Sakura threw a shuriken at Ino, who easily dodged it. Then she simply pinned the pink-haired kunoichi to a tree by her clothes with kunai. The fight is over, little Sakura. Ino Yamanaka wins. Next up is Chuji Akimichi and Shikamaru Nara. I don't want. Sakura stood up in shame, freeing herself from the kunai. Oddly enough, Sakura stood next to Ino, there was no room. Come on, Chuji. Shikamaru encouraged. No. He ran away, sweeping away everything in his path. The next pair is Uzumaki Naruto vs Sasuke Uchiha. Yes. Naruto walked up to his sensei, coming face to face with Sasuke. Two of the best students. Sasuke-kun, beat him. Who will win? I'm for Sasuke, my mother forbids me to communicate with this Uzumaki. 1, 2, 3, start. The opponents rushed at each other. Last time Sasuke knocked the blonde out. But this time they both stood on their feet and, clasping their hands, tried to pin each other with their shurikens. Author's note, this was the first time when it was possible to use real kunai and shuriken, but only to incapacitate the enemy. But then they suddenly pulled back, jumping in different directions. Then they rushed at each other again. Sasuke tried to kick, but Naruto jumped up, striking with his right leg from there, but the Uchiha blocked, thereby parrying the blow. Then he rushed at the blonde, swinging his arm, but he grabbed him by both hands, spinning him half a circle, throwing him away from himself. Then they both rushed forward, preparing a kick, and when hitting, they formed a kind of cross with these legs. And again they jumped back. And then Sasuke rushed at his opponent again, preparing a similar blow from above, but Naruto intercepted his leg and turned the Uchiha's entire body through it, thereby forcing the brunette to make several turns around himself in the air. And now, the final blow. They rushed forward, fists ready, and hit each other. Both fell to the ground, getting up, but the fight was already over. Draw. Iruka-sensei said. Someone whistled in admiration under the impression of such a battle. Someone disappointed said that Sasuke would still do it. At the moment when the guys came up to cross their fingers, both grabbed each other by the collar. Naruto had already foreseen this. Let go, or I might break your fingers, the blonde said, smiling. At that moment, he met eyes full of hatred, rivalry, enmity and, of course, a thirst for revenge. Sasuke squeezed harder, but Naru freed himself, ignoring Iruka's offer of peace, and ran away somewhere, no longer out of anger, as he once did, but with joy, sticking his tongue out at the Uchiha behind the fence of the training ground. And where did Uzumaki run? And that's in the next chapter. Naruto ran to the Hokage rock. There he sat down on a bench and closed his eyes. Hello, Dad. You see me now, right? Did I make a mistake by agreeing? But I can change everything. You know, today I didn't lose to Sasuke. He shouldn't go to Orochimaru this time. I'll do everything for this, but for now. The boy got up from the bench and went somewhere. He was looking for him. Sasuke Uchiha. The brunette was sitting alone on the shore when he noticed Naruto walking nearby. Sasuke immediately made a face like "I find you disgusting" and turned away, but Uzumaki was persistent and came up and sat down next to him. Hey, your clan was already wiped out, right? Asked the boy. At first Sasuke was surprised. How did Naruto know about this? But then he immediately frowned. What business is it of yours? It's just. I used to think that I was alone, lonely and unhappy. What are you getting at? Uchiha asked, still frowning. It's just. I'm alone too. I understand you. Understand? Yes, 7 years ago my parents died defending Konoha. I know that my mother was friends with some woman from the Uchiha clan. Sasuke opened his mouth. You know, maybe your brother is not at all what he seemed to you? What kind of nonsense are you talking about? And, how do you know about my brother and what he's like? You won't understand me, now. Oh well, everything has its time. I don't understand you. Not surprising. Why the hell am I talking to you? We're enemies. Sasuke turned away, letting Naruto know that there would be no truce. The blonde understood everything as if there had been no conversation and moved on. Sasuke. Look at the moon. They say that on the night of sorrow you see in it the faces of those you have lost, and who were very dear to you. With these words, he stood up and left. Sasuke cringed. Hello. Naruto came to Ichiraku. Can I have a double portion of ramen? Of course. Even a triple one for you. The owner smiled affably and got down to business. Hey, I heard that you and Sasuke Uchiha fought today, and it was a draw. I approached Naruto. Yes. And is he a worthy opponent? The girl winked cheerfully. No. And they both laughed radiantly. Iam's father, standing next to him, also smiled. Naruto ate everything, thanked them, and went home. And today I was not bad. I want to go to a bookstore and buy a book with some story. I'll read it. Hello. Again his cheerful greeting, already in the bookstore, and again angry glances in his direction. What do you want, you bastard? Naruto simply replied, any story. Here, choke on it. The seller threw it at his feet, not coming even 5 meters away from the boy. The blonde simply picked her up, putting the money on the floor. Arigato. He left, and the seller and customers breathed a sigh of relief. Everyone still hates me, oh well. With these words he opened his apartment, having locked it after entering it. Should I clean? Yes, I think I will. The boy began to wash and sweep the floor and do other nasty work. Phew. Naruto finished. Now we can read. Uzumaki took the book, opened it, it seemed interesting. Okay, let's read it. Sit down, my girl, and listen to my tales of a crazy old woman, the old woman said, sitting by the fireplace, which had never been anywhere. The shinobi world considered this old woman very strange and crazy. What are your stories about, Grandma? Asked little Suzuki, sitting down on the old woman's knees. About the Great Ull. She lived in those times when there was not even ninjutsu, and Rakudo Sennin had not yet been born, the old woman spoke calmly. Were there ever such times? There were, my dear, there were. Women were so beautiful then, so warlike, so powerful. And wars were much more terrible then. There were no clans then, there were tribes. Not a single kunoichi can compare in strength and beauty with the one who lived in those times. What kind of people are they? Warriors of the great sky. Beautiful Myras and brave Miracules. And I want to tell you. Old Sogdiana heard the silence in agreement and began her story. There were 5 tribes then. The lightning tribe, the water tribe, the fire tribe, the earth tribe and the air tribe. They used a certain element. And in the fire tribe there lived a girl, her name was Ull. She was beautiful, strong. Her red, sunset-like hair fluttered in the wind in long strands. Her non-feminine clothes did not make her less charming, her sword sparkled as a sign of eternal protection of her dear people, and her strong character was unique. Hard as a stone, she began to train on herself, for what is the use of a sword if there is no one to protect with it? Well, she grew up like this, and I will start from the beginning. The old woman sat down more comfortably. She was still a little girl, when the tribes of Dark Deeds declared war on the elemental tribes. They were terrible people, strong, and the most terrible thing was that they used this power to harm people good and honest, but defenseless. So, servants of the lords of these very tribes came to their tribe to fight for the mares and miracles from the tribe of fire. And their elder brother all fell to them. And he was blind from birth. All begged them to let her brother live, but what's the point, who would listen to a little girl? And now, my little Suzuki, imagine all this, and I will begin to tell you in our language. Or maybe if you're so worried about your brother, I should take you, said one of the servants. I agree, she stepped forward. Don't go crazy. How are you going to fight? Her brother rushed to her. And so I will. It is not right to send the blind and lying like kittens to a painful death and a terrible death. Well, an agreement is an agreement. Come here. Another servant called her. No matter how much her parents and brother begged her not to do stupid things, she had an iron character. All approached them, they picked up another 150 people from all the tribes later, and went in a crowd to the main camp, where they were supposed to teach them this business. So, said their leader, you came here to protect your tribes. Oh, you're too young, my dear, for war, noted the girl standing nearby. She was about 13 to 14 years old. I am 6 years old. What are you doing here? I came to fight. Then let's be friends. I'm Savai from the Fire Tribe, although you probably are too. I've never been there, I've spent my whole life stuck in some village. The girl had long red hair. And I am Samui, I am from the column of the Tribe of the Sun. A girl of about 13 to 14 years old joined them, like Savai, she had short yellow hair, not white. Wonderful, isn't it? So the columns fight too? Ol was amazed. Certainly. And I am Hitomi. I am from the Earth Tribe, the third girl began. She was lovely. Ol. A voice came from behind. Ayumi. The girl who had run up a minute earlier and all hugged. They took me to war too. And I'm only 13 years old. That's how they all met. Hey, it's time to start training. Everyone heard the voice of the chief. He himself was young and fresh, but he had seen a lot. Many of his people died in the war. Maybe it might seem to you, my child, that this war began only a few days ago, but it had been going on for 5 years or more. The armies of adult warriors were simply exhausted. And he was a handsome lad, there's no denying it. He was from the Water Tribe. His name was Azuna. And I thought he was from the Air Tribe. Well, the men there are all bald. The old woman laughed kindly. In the air tribe. Well, they started training right away, first on what each of them could do. There were few good warriors yet, and there were none at all. The techniques were weak, if they had any at all. And he announced the real training tomorrow. They started at dawn. They broke through walls, carried water, walking on vertical ones. They learned taijutsu, then called taha. Genjutsu and ninjutsu, which they called genjako and ninjomo, they tried to bring to the ideal. Kenjutsu and fuinjutsu, kenmakoju and fuinka, were practiced. They flogged themselves until sunset. The work was hard, but the fruits were sweet for the young warriors. As the star rose, they were already ready and full of strength to go into battle. And each cast his own sword. Some had steel, some titanium. But all did not have such a sword. It was forged from star metal, and covered with star dust. It was under the light of the star that the boys began to do their work. In 24 hours they finished all their work. What? In one day? How is that possible? Nowadays, even the strongest of the Uchiha or Senju clans won't be able to learn everything in one day. Well, people were different then. A 5-year-old child was stronger than 2 adults. And one day they said that it was time to go to the front, that's what they called it then. And they went, having gathered. The girls chatted about everything under the sun. After all, they were young. And on the way they started talking about boys. And at that moment Ulf caught the eye of a young man from the air tribe. He was not bald at all. Apparently there was no time to get a haircut during the war. They had been walking for a week already, and everyone's hair grew well then. And so, they reached the place. And they saw that everyone was killed. Oh, and how much blood there was. They saw that defiled warriors from the dark tribes were coming towards them. Their faces were hidden either by masks or by darkness. The battle began. The good warriors were cut into pieces, and they did not lag behind, and those who were not yet completely chopped up, who were still breathing, with all their remaining strength grabbed the worthless ones by the legs, bit into their hands with their teeth, broke bones, with their whole hands, if they had any. They kicked, they did everything, while the living and healthy fought with the dark ones. This terrible battle ended with the victory of the peaceful tribes of light. They returned home, to wait for a new battle. And so they waited for a year, and then new bloodshed began. Many were dead then. Ayumi was killed in battle, Samui was mortally wounded. In our time, a person would not even regain consciousness, he would die, but she breathed for 4 days. For 4 days the healers fought for her life. Our healers did not even dream of such medical power. But she died anyway. 5 years passed, and in yet another battle Savayu died too. They were cruel, these battles. Such that you could never even dream of in your worst nightmare. This is what true pain was. It is better to lose friends and loved ones 100 times in our time than to see this. Such a battle. And Ul was only 12 years old. And so, the most terrible, decisive battle came. The remaining 10 people came to the mountains, with a commander, and 10,000 were rushing at them. Well, let's die not for honor, but for our homeland. We will give our lives for our tribes, we will stand up for ourselves, we will break these scoundrels with our bright wall, said the captain. Ul caught Azuna's last sad look, and the mighty warriors went into battle. She jumped off the branch, dodged the shurikens, the fishing line. It was not right for a Myra or a miracle to fall for such stupidity. Oh well, it was a wild, inhuman battle. Azuna and the Dark began to fight with swords. The Myras folded seals. They were different then, more complex. There were more of them, but then it was a shame to fold them with 2 hands. Trees were falling, technicians were moving the avalanche that had collapsed so that it wouldn't get in the way. There were chases along the perimeter of the slope, explosions all around, mountains of dead bodies. Everyone dodged the attacks, both enemies and friends, until an idea came to Ul's head, when she was the only one left alive, and about 300 enemies were approaching her. She grabbed the last smoke bomb, a rope, and some explosive clay, ran around them, throwing the bomb, and so fast that even the fastest in our time would not dream of such speed. She wrapped them in rope so that they could not even breathe, they began to choke. And in the meantime she ran away and blew up the clay. The last enemies died, and they were buried under a new avalanche. The war ended, and the people never recognized their hero. She did not need this. And a few minutes later a post hoc flew to her with a letter that the tribes of fire and air had died out. The tribe of fire, a direct hit on them by 10 billion explosives and burning guns. And the tribe of air, besieging during the absence of the main defense while they were on the battlefield. What about the one from the air tribe? All liked him. Oh no. She just liked him, but she loved Izuna, but he died. And he looked at her sadly in the last battle, that he would not be able to see her anymore, as if he felt that he would die, and she would remain alive. Silly, and those who attacked the tribes were also killed by air and fire, but these two wonderful tribes paid the highest price for the victory. And Izuna never confessed his love to all, as she did not to him. She simply threw away that letter, wiped away a tear, and left that slope, on which to this day lie, buried under an avalanche. No one knows what kind of mountain it is, but to this day under thick layers of fresh snow lies a layer of what is forever stained with the purest blood of comrades, and the defiled blood of enemies. 5 years have passed since the war ended. All wandered through a small and weak world. The loss of 2 nations dealt a terrible blow to all people. Many cried, screamed, but nothing could be returned. All became so sensitive to someone else's pain from within, she wanted to fall to her knees, moan, like a wolf at the moon. But All is not one of those who will show emotions. She was walking through the forest, it was already evening. The girl stopped and made a fire. She sat next to it, looking at the flames. They seemed to reflect all the past years, sorrow and joy, sadness and joy. What are you doing here alone? All was brought out of his thoughts by someone's voice. I'm wandering. It's dangerous to be here, people disappear here during the full moon. Come, spend the night at my place. I'm Hannah. Hannah had long white hair and was short. Her eyes were hidden by her bangs. My name is Ul. The girls continued walking in silence. After about 15 minutes they reached a small village. And then a small house. We've arrived, come in. Hannah opened the door. How old are you? Ul asked when they were already sitting by the fireplace with cups of tea. 18. The new acquaintance turned out to be a year older than Ul. By the way, thank you for taking me in. What kind of forest is this? Every full moon, one person goes into the forest, and no one has ever returned from there. No one remembers the name of its name, everyone calls this forest cursed. Hannah said this as if every mention of it was difficult for her. But the full moon is in a few days. They say that one of these days a typhoon will pass through here. The village will survive, but the travelers are in danger. And no one walks here except you, there is only one road through the forest. You should only be afraid of it during the full moon, but fear controls people. They don't want to go. So no one else walks here. But, you were in that forest. Oh, I was just marking the good trees, I'm a puppeteer. I like making puppets. That was the end of the questions. Hannah led Ul to her room, and she went to bed. That was how the night passed. Ul woke up early, Hannah was already leaving. Are you up already? The hostess looked at the guest. I'll go for a walk. Okay, just be careful, don't go too far. With these words, Hannah left along the path where they had walked with Ul yesterday. The latter immediately rushed out into the street. Ul ran, but then stopped. Her intuition told her that there was someone here who could tell her more about that forest. Hello, she said when the door she knocked on opened. Who are you? I haven't seen you here before. An elderly man opened the door, his hair had turned gray and his eyes had dimmed. My name is Ul. Could you tell me everything you know about the forest where people disappear? She said this when they were already sitting at the table with cups of tea. Why do you need this? Do you know what you're getting into? Yes. Okay. I'm an old carpenter. I've been living in this village colony for 5 years. I'm the last of the air tribe, and those from the dark tribes live in this village. They fled from them during the war, people who wanted peace. There's also a girl from the fire tribe living here. But every full moon, people started going into that forest and never came back. They just said, I'm going into the forest, and left. Why did they go into that forest? Well, no one knows what draws them there. Some say it's an evil spirit, others that the souls of dead tribes are taking revenge. And no matter how much we stop them, they still leave. They break doors, chains, windows. Only Hannah is not afraid to go into that forest, of course, not on a full moon, but we don't even go into that forest during the day. And she always picks up wood chips for her dolls. Then she walks the streets and looks people in the eyes. Strange, but oh well. Everyone has their own. That's all I can say. It's time for you to go. I feel the typhoon is getting closer and closer. Thank you, goodbye. All answered and ran to Hannah. Are you okay? She heard when she entered the room where Hannah was sitting by the fireplace. Yes. Walked? In a few minutes the typhoon will reach the village. Don't go anywhere. It will last for about 2 days. And I'm going to the workshop. It's in the attic, so if you need anything. Fine. Hannah had already cut down all the trees she needed and went to make her puppets. And so 2 days passed. Then another. And it was time for all to solve this riddle. But she felt something was wrong. Her eyelids felt like lead, and she felt sleepy. Could it be because of the glass of water she drank a few minutes ago? All woke up, having overcome the sleeping pills. How much time had passed? She ran quickly along the path. The forest, which did not want its secrets to be unraveled, did not foresee what all read from the tracks. The tracks belonged to a woman of about 35. The tracks are not that deep, which means she was either dragged and forced to walk, or supported from above, like a small child. To the north. The tracks seem to branch out. To the east, but they are different. First you need to go north. All followed the tracks. Right, north, she said, more than halfway through. But there is Mount Mobioku. That's where they're all going. Help. She heard somewhere 10 meters away from her. Who's there? Asked Doll. Please help. The voice belonged to a girl of about 14. In the darkness, her facial features and hair color were almost invisible. Did you also come here by the will of the cursed forest? All freed the girl, who was tied to a thick tree branch by the hand. This is not a forest. It's all her. This witch made everyone come here. She lured children, old people, women, men, teenagers, girls, young men here. She's a witch. Who are you talking about? About me. The warrior and the girl heard. Of course, no one noticed, but all did not let go of her sword for a minute. There stood Hannah. Oh, well, I even slipped you a sleeping pill made from sleeping herbs. Nothing affects you. I even made that little rat specifically rummage closer to the east, but no. I'll have to kill you, all. Then I'll return to Mayaboku and deal with that girl. She pierced the girl crying from fear next to her with her gaze. Why did you lure people here? Ul's voice began to tremble from the pain these people and their loved ones were experiencing. Why? They are from the dark tribes. Because of these creatures the entire fire tribe died out. I lived far away from it, but I loved it so much, I wanted to come there, and I came, and there they told me that during the full moon all the people close to me died from a direct hit on the houses of the people of my tribe by one large shell. One hit, and there is nothing. Fire fell. All because of them. I didn't have parents anyway, and now I don't have a tribe, people close to me. So let them die now under the full moon. You will die too. Suddenly torches disguised as trees lit up all around, illuminating everything around for several meters. And then all saw Hannah's eyes for the first time. The girl was horrified by what she saw. They were green and dark, full of hatred, thirst for murder, revenge. They were mad, evil, and boring into the girl. But Hannah's expression changed from angry and sadistic to uncomprehending. Apparently she was trying to take control of Ul's mind. Why? That's the weakness of this trick. It doesn't work on the people of the fire tribe. Ul watched every movement of the maddened girl. So you're also from the fire tribe. She was either disappointed or surprised that someone else had survived. So the second to last of this tribe will die today. And it will be you. Ul rushed at her, trying to strike, but she jumped to the left, and the blow landed on the tree next to which Hannah was standing. The latter managed to attach several threads of what is now called chakra to Ul's right hand. Then, after a few minutes, it turned out that Ul was strangling herself with her right hand. When it seemed that she was about to choke, she pulled out her sword with her free hand and, passing her chakra through its blade, cut the threads. Then she made the chakra from the blade and the threads from Hannah's chakra merge at the right edge of the blade, and then pulled it towards herself. Shocked that Ul turned out to be a warrior, Hannah lost her vigilance and came to her senses only to find Ul's blade piercing her a moment later. And so the battle ended, luckily without chases and other nonsense. Ul blindfolded the girl who had been watching the battle the whole time and chopped the body of the defeated one into pieces, and then burned it in one of these torches. She simply poured the ashes into a box and threw them into the river flowing nearby. Let's go find the survivors. Ul untied the girl's eyes, wiped the bloody blade with a rag and threw it somewhere to the side. The fire in the torches went out. They were already making their way along the walls of the mountain tunnel when they saw a hollow where human bones lay. There were only 2 half-dead people there. That woman and a girl of about 5. Mom. The girl standing next to Ul rushed towards the woman. Tomei, you're alive, the woman exhaled with her last strength. The girl next to her was also dying. She didn't have time to finish us off. Ul took some tincture out of the bag she had brought with her. After giving the girl and the woman a sip, she put it back in the bag. And then 2 balls of blue flame appeared in her hands. The prisoners' wounds began to heal, their hearts began to beat faster. Tomei simply watched in silence. So you are from the fire tribe, said the woman when she felt better. Yes, my name is Ul. What about this? She's dead. As I understand it, she possessed your minds and forced you to come to Mount Mayaboku at any cost, while attaching her threads to control your bodies. Yes, she always walked around during the day and looked out for everyone. Those she touched left and never came back, and when they came to their senses, she told them why she was doing this and killed them. But she hadn't had time to kill us yet, she heard voices. That's why she left. And she made me go first to the east, and then to the north to the mountain, saying that she would deal with me later, but for now I should sit here, and tied my hand to a tree just in case. Now it's over. Tell everyone that there is no more danger. As soon as the woman and her daughter left, Ul made everyone who was afraid of the forest believe that it was no longer dangerous. With the same trick that Hannah used. Who are you? She finally asked the girl, who had been sitting silently all this time. I'm Zan. My mom and dad died here. Can I come with you? The girl had short blue hair and brown eyes, they were so kind. Okay. Just let's go to your house, get dressed in warm, clean clothes. Zan was wearing only a light, dirty white sundress with straps. So they went. Zan asked about the war, about the fire tribe, they got there. The girl changed her clothes, and Ul took all the fresh food. But when she looked around, she wanted to cry, no, not cry, sob. The house was so small and cozy, but cold, like Zan was when she was on the mountain, in the cave, because the atmosphere of warmth and love, it was gone for this girl, as well as for all those whose relatives and friends were killed there, but Ul held back. She swore that she would replace the family the girl had been unfairly deprived of. They left together to wander further, just the 2 of them. Naruto came to his senses only when he realized that this was the last chapter of the book. So people were killed on Mount Mayaboku? He had experienced so much pain while reading the pages of this book. He swore to himself that he would definitely read all the books about this girl. Naruto closed the book and rushed back into the store. Hello. You again. What now? We're closing. Do you have a sequel to the book? No. And when will it be? I don't know, there's no demand for it, and we won't bring it for your sake. Please. Okay, just get out. Maybe we'll bring it within 10 years. Go away. Naruto, trying not to pay attention to the rudeness, went to this store throughout his studies at the academy, and was told that there were no books yet. At the same time, he remained the best student of the academy on par with Sasuke. Well, no again, Naruto came home after Ichiraka ramen. Tomorrow Mizuki will mess with my head, and I'll have to steal the scroll. I already know how to make clones, so tomorrow I'll just stupidly pawn it and give it to Iruka-sensei. And now I'll do my homework and go to bed right away, of course, and tomorrow I'll stop by that store. Naruto woke up after having ramen and milk, fresh, for breakfast. As usual, he got ready and went to the academy. Of course, he passed the Genin exam with flying colors. But he had to pretend that the clones weren't perfect, but average. Well, what would this Muso tell him then? Nothing. Maybe he has no imagination, he'll just confuse someone else. The boy walked along the fence, having first drawn a line with chalk along its entire length. No, he still couldn't resist little pranks. Then he remembered that Konohamaru was following him. What do you want? Naruto couldn't take it anymore at the 30-meter mark. You are my rival. I will become Hokage. Yeah, right, Naruto thought to himself, smiling faintly. You will definitely become one, but I need to go to the academy. To kick some more ass later, Naruto added in his mind, somehow awkwardly. Konohamaru, of course, did not lag behind him, but followed him, but at the 60th meter he got bored, and the boy went about his business, Ebisu's great mischief. Arriving at the academy, the blonde saw Sasuke sitting alone and a crowd of girls standing around him. Only Hinata was sitting on the second-to-last desk, mentally saying Naruto. And blushing. Hinata is also the same as she was so many years ago. He didn't attach any special importance to the girl, because he had always been indifferent to her, and simply sat behind Sasuke. So, today some of you are retaking the cloning technique. Iruka-sensei said, entering the classroom with the bell. Naruto, you are the second best student. You need to be able to create better clones. Or you will remain second. Yes, Iruka-sensei, said the boy. Come out. Naruto went to the board, preparing to make a clone. There were 2 clones, but one looked weak. Yours is still lower than Sasuke's. Yes, Sasuke-kun. Girls from all over the class shouted. These are fanatical mops, Naruto thought to himself. So then, I'll give you another chance. Later. Tomorrow, Iruka-sensei said after a while. Thank you, the student replied. And so half the day went by. When it was all over, Naruto made a pained expression on his face, enticing Muso. Why are you sad, Naruto? He showed up without getting dusty. I can't make clones well, that's why I'm worried, Naruto started to lie. You know, I also couldn't do a lot of things, but there is a scroll, a forbidden one, you can learn how to make clones perfectly. And this time he got straight to the point. I'll find him. Naruto said, jumping onto a branch. So, now it turns out that Muso is a deceiver and all that, okay, Iruka-sensei is probably already chasing me. Naruto spoke to himself, already jumping along the tree branches with the scroll on his back. Stop, Naruto. You're doing well, now give me the scroll. Muso appeared out of nowhere. Don't give it to him, he wants to take it for himself. Naruto, don't listen to him. Iruka appeared then. And this time everything went faster, and not at all like last time, oh well, it's better for me. No, Naruto. It's Iruka who's deceiving you, he's always hated you. Don't listen to him. For what, I wonder? Naruto asked, simply said, without much enthusiasm. You've been deceived all this time. In you. Shut up, Muso. The 9-tailed demon fox that killed Iruka's parents was sealed. Didn't you find it strange that everyone hates you? Yes. It's true, everyone hates you just for being you. What news? Naruto stupidly ran somewhere. Stop, Naruto. No. Iruka shouted. Blah blah blah. Naruto quietly mimicked, running away. Then Iruka caught up with him, Naruto pushed him away, to put it mildly. It turned out that it was Muso, Naruto, Iruka. Pfft. Naruto said, sitting behind a tree. Die, Naruto. Having said something else before that, Muso threw a huge shuriken at Naruto, who was pretending to be crushed. But the boy was closed by Iruka-sensei. Iruka-sensei, Naruto whispered. Forgive me, Naruto. I hated you, but, forgive me for making you suffer, Sensei spoke with tears in his eyes. I wanted to deal with you later, Muso began. But I'm tired of you, die, Irika. But now Naruto came out, gifting Muso with a clone blow. Just touch my sensei and I'll kill you, he said. What can you do to me, nine-tailed one? Muso grinned. But Naruto created a huge number of clones, which simply beat Muso. Unbelievable, Irika thought. When Naruto finished, the shinobi sent by the third Hokage, who had been watching all this time through his sphere, had already arrived. The shinobi took the scroll and Muso. Naruto. I give you top marks for the clones. You're doing great, Irika said. Let me treat you to ramen again. Thank you, Irika-sensei, the boy said happily, hugging the teacher. After eating ramen, Naruto thanked his sensei and returned home. It's already late, tomorrow I'll have to ask about the book, Naruto thought, lying down in bed. Kwade, good morning, Naruto said to himself as he woke up. He got up, got dressed, had breakfast, how could he not eat, and went to the academy. Today I need to go to that store, yes, I'll go now. He went to that very store. You? What do you want here? The seller asked just as rudely. Hello, have they brought the book yet? Naruto asked. There will be a delivery this afternoon, so come later. The book still hasn't arrived. The seller answered, frowning and looking sideways at the boy with hatred. Thank you, he answered and left the store. Naruto, are you going to try to make clones better than Sasuke again today? Shikamaru asked somewhat indifferently. I've already passed everything with flying colors. Sasuke frowned when he heard this. When did you manage to do it? Chuoji, who was eating chips, joined in. Oh, yesterday, the guy answered and walked up to the desk next to Sasuke, sitting on the other side. He even missed the situation that happened so many years ago and now. Of course, the one where Ino and Sakura quarrel over Sasuke. Naruto, for some god knows why, stood in front of the desk, opposite Sasuke. Facing him. The boy just wanted to look into his eyes. And then the guy who was sitting in the first desk accidentally pushed Naruto right into Sasuke. You again? Naruto thought angrily, remembering how jealous girls beat him, and Sakura said I should have kissed him first. I hate you, boy, Naruto said very quietly through the kiss. Naruto. I'll kill you, Sasuke said as the boys pulled back from each other, pretending that they were both going to throw up. You are finished, Naruto, Sakura said, cracking her fingers. Run as fast as you can, Naruto, Sasuke muttered. I'm done for, again. Naruto ran away from the pack of girls, already preparing for his own beating. Then Irika-sensei entered the classroom. Naruto was sitting at his desk, all beaten up. So, we divide you into teams of 3 people. I wish I could be with Naruto, Hinata thought. Team number 7, Uzumaki Naruto, Haruno Sakura, and Uchiha Sasuke. Sakura hit her head on the desk, and Naruto did nothing. For the first time, he was angry because of Sasuke and happy because of Sakura. Then the bell rang as all the teams were announced and the groups waited for their new senseis. Well, where is he? All the teams are already training with their teachers, and we, Sakura said. Naruto, what are you doing? Nothing, he said, repeating his old joke from the first meeting with Kakashi-sensei. A few minutes later, Kakashi came, having fallen for this stupidity. Haha. Remembering this moment in adulthood, Naruto always laughed. Forgive him, he's a fool, said Sakura. Would a jonin fall for something like that? I don't believe he's a real jonin, Sasuke thought. How can I put it, my group are idiots. Sasuke, Naruto, and Sakura exhaled. Then they went to the roof. So, tell us about yourself, what you like, what you don't like, hobbies, dreams, Kakashi spoke. You start, then we'll understand what you want from us, Naruto said. Okay. My name is Hatake Kakashi. What I like and what I don't like is none of your business. My dream is also none of your business. And I have many hobbies, one of them is reading. Now you. He only told us his name. Sakura whispered to Naruto. He nodded. My name is Haruno Sakura. I love, she smiled and looked at Sasuke, blushing. My dreams, she also looked at Sasuke. I don't like Naruto. He didn't react to this at all. No wonder, at this age girls are interested in boys, not ninja techniques. Kakashi said to himself. I'm Uzumaki Naruto. I like to eat instant ramen and Ichiraka ramen. My dream is to become a Hokage. I don't like to wait while ramen is cooking. My hobby is eating ramen and reading several books from the same series. What a peculiar child. I wonder what kind of books these are. My name is Uchiha Sasuke. I don't like almost everything. My dream, it's more of a goal, is to revive my clan and destroy one person. Sasuke said, sitting in his curled-up position, holding his hands in a lock, resting his chin on them. I see, Kakashi said without interest. Tomorrow is the first training, don't be late, and, by the way, don't eat breakfast, you might throw up. He said and jumped onto a branch, leaving. Of course, during the conversation he was reading a book. The guys, except Naruto, opened their mouths in horror. By everyone. Naruto said, jumping onto a branch. And, Sasuke, sorry about today. He just snorted. I mean the attack on Sasuke during lunch, I didn't describe it, sorry, with Sakura too. Everyone left, and Naruto ran to the store. Hello, did you bring the books? Just take your book already. The seller threw a new book with the inscription Legends of all Parts 3 to 7 into his hands. I begged for one book, asked to print them, just so you would leave me alone for a while. The seller said angrily, cautiously taking the money from Naruto. He thanked him again and went home. It's already closer to evening. I'll read one story today, Naruto said, coming home. All and Zan walked through endless black swamps, paths, deserted roads. The food supplies were gone, but kind, albeit gloomy, people lived in the swamps. Of course, the tasteless, disgusting crumb that they called bread and made from swamp reeds could be called anything but food. And the eye fish, the only safe fish that lived in the swamps, could not compare with the one that lived in the rivers of the Fire tribe. The travelers did not spend the night with anyone, since the locals' beliefs that no creature like a swamp rat or a spider would crawl into a house could not affect Zan. So they had to travel at night. Be careful, don't run into the scarecrow, or he'll shower you with gold dust, put you to sleep, and kidnap the girl. That's happened to all the night moths. And what he does with them is unknown. He probably eats them. Although one crazy guy told us a long time ago that if you kill the scarecrow, the children will return to their homes as they were when they were kidnapped. Although the parents of many have long since grown old, and if they die, then those who want to raise them take them. You can't see the scarecrow's face. Only his eyes angry, and otherwise a hat and a cloak, nothing else is visible. And if he gets closer, you can hear the ringing of crystal. And its volume gradually increases the closer the scarecrow gets. Of course, All and Zan met the scarecrow, and after the meeting, the warrior wanderer put his body, chopped up by All's sword, in a sack, having first blindfolded Zan, so that she would not see. And that's what happened, a piece of the body in a piece of rag. And it turns out that he had a sack of gold dust all this time. Big, nothing to say. But a small pinch would be enough for a child. But all is all, and Zan did not allow him to put him to sleep, she shook all the damned dust off her. And the children returned to their homes, as in the legend. And All took the bags with the scarecrow and the gold dust with her, maybe they'll come in handy later. Yes, and that bag definitely weighs 16 kilograms. And how did the scarecrow hide it in his cloak? I didn't try to take this parasite out of the rags, it was disgustingly painful. All, where are we? Where are we going? Zan asked as she and All walked through the forest. To the city of rebels. They say there's something fishy there. Are we going to save people? How could it be otherwise? These people can't do it themselves, there has to be help from somewhere. They've had enough suffering, there was already a war. How could they have been hurt? They were so far away. In war, everyone suffers, because everyone contributes something of their own. It concerns everyone, if it is a world war. And this world war was such that even in the most dilapidated village soldiers came. so to speak, to select warriors. Ah, I see. A huge stone wall appeared ahead. We are almost in the city, it is behind this wall. There were guards standing by the wall, in approximately the same armor that all fought in the war and traveled in. Silver, with the sign of her tribe on her left chest. Who are you? Asked the one standing on the right. I'm All, and this is my daughter, Zan. We need to go to the city. Why do you need to go to the city? You are too suspicious, but we are not enemies. What do you have with you? Nothing dangerous for you. We need to check. The guards found nothing suspicious. All could hide things even on herself. How? It's very simple, a lost trick connected with what is now called Genjutsu. You can hide anything like that. But it's lost, and no one remembers its secret anymore. All and her daughter went into the city. The wall sank into the ground for a few minutes, and as soon as the wanderers found themselves in the city itself, everything was as before. But then All thought he heard someone calling help. The voice seemed to be carried away by the wind, and no one could hear it. Where from, exactly? Muttering this, All looked into the distance. It's from somewhere on the outskirts of the city. All, what's wrong? I need to ask. She took the girl by the hand and led her to the nearest stall. Hello, All addressed the saleswoman. Do you know where the cry for help could have come from on the outskirts of the city? The saleswoman looked at the girl first as if she were crazy, and then with fear. Are you crazy? Nobody goes there, everyone is afraid to even talk about the Death Tower. About the Tower of Death? I won't tell anything. What if I give you a sovereign? Author's note, an English gold coin worth £1 sterling, decided to use it as an ancient currency in a fictional ancient world before the shinobi world. Where did you get a sovereign? I've been working for a year for that kind of money. Well then tell me? The saleswoman frowned. The Tower of Death is on the very outskirts of the city, if you keep going straight. It's black and tall, they say a terrible monster lives there, devouring everyone who comes to the tower. The monster grabs them if it's not sleeping at the time, and they can't get out of there, they search. And the monster wakes up and devours the fools. But why do they go there then? This is your first time here. I'm almost at the gates, trading, but this is the first time I've seen you. You really don't know, she said the last part more affirmatively than questioningly. So? Once upon a time there lived a beautiful girl, with golden hair. She was a princess, I think. She was hiding from an evil prince and waiting for her beloved. He had to run away from his kingdom, he was also a prince. They were not allowed to be together, the kingdoms were at war, they had just made an alliance, but broke it off right away. And the princess married another man, who was evil and cruel. Also a prince. And when he found out that she had run away, he first killed the prince who had run away, and then turned into a monster and went to look for the unfaithful one. They had already lived together before that, they were married until she ran away. And she was in the tower, in her favorite velvet room, when the monster came to her. She and the prince wanted to spend their first wedding night in this room. But it was not meant to be. The monster locked her in this room, where there was bright scarlet velvet and white silks everywhere. And with his hatred he made the tower black and empty. Only one room remained the same, the one where the princess is still sobbing in captivity. And only occasionally can you hear her cries for help with a keen ear, while the monster sleeps. And people went there for different reasons. At first they believed that if lovers spend their first night there, then their family will be happy, and they will never part. In the room where the princess is. But you still have to find the door to the cherished room, and it is no different from the others from the outside. A black iron door. Everyone who looked for it was eaten by the monster, no one found it, and the monster woke up. They also say that there are various riches in this room, the princess's dresses and so on. And the greedy went for all this, did not find the door and died. Now no one goes there anymore. Only at the other end of the narrow river lives an old man, a madman. How can you live there? He is a fisherman. Maybe he knows something else. Thank you. Here you go. All handed the woman a sovereign. Then she took Zan's hand and walked straight ahead. And I didn't understand from her story, about the river, Zan said. We go straight, and then the path is blocked horizontally by a narrow river. On this bank of the river, where we will stand, there is a fisherman's house, and at the other end there is a tower. But the door still needs to be unlocked, not just found, the girl said quietly. All didn't answer. The fisherman's house was on the right if you go straight to the tower. It wasn't very big. Good afternoon, said the girl, approaching a dilapidated little house. Who's there? Wanderers, what do you want in such a terrible place? An old man came out of the house, he looked kind and adequate. I want to rid you of the monster that lives in the tower, All answered. Then I can help, said the old man. I have the key to the door where the princess is imprisoned. So why didn't you give it to couples and others? Zan asked. They thought about themselves, not about others. So that they would feel good, and not the people who suffer from this monster. Well, that's what I think, but in general, the princess gave this key to me with the wind. She said to give it to the one who would come with the goal of saving people and her, and not to take her jewelry and clothes, and to spend time well on a soft bed like her own. And you want to save others, free her, she will go to the afterlife, and you will be able to give all these clothes and treasures to the poor, but not in this city, there are no poor here. And you will distribute this to people in need around the world, if you defeat the monster. Leave the girl with me for now, you will not be able to keep an eye on her there. The door is on the 34th floor, second from the left. Go. Here is the key. The old man handed the street key. Blue, the monster will wake up in an hour. He sleeps in the dungeon. What is your name? Rub. Thank you. She took the bags of gold dust and the scarecrow, as well as the key. It was pitch dark in the tower. You could barely see anything. The monster was still sleeping. There were about 15 minutes left. All began to descend into the dungeon. It took about 10 minutes. All walked in, not afraid that the entire floor was white, covered in bones. They probably covered the floor about 30 centimeters. And they crunched underfoot. The monster was sleeping at the very end. The dungeon was large, and the girl immediately ran towards the monster, and when she got close, she plunged her sword into it. He opened his eyes wide, waking up, and threw all away, but she didn't fly away, but jumped up, starting to swing her sword, jumping down at the monster. The movements were strange, but as soon as they caught up with the monster, they chopped it up. And the white floor turned red. It was fast. All said. Then she turned and walked into that treasured room. All had already put the key to the keyhole when the door lit up green. The key itself entered the keyhole, opening it. Thank you. All heard as her eyes were blinded by the light and the door swung open. Your strength is incredible. All didn't even have time to close her eyes, everything had already stopped. The tower had disappeared, and she, All, was sitting on the shore near the fisherman's house with a bag of gold dust and, the bag with the scarecrow turned into a red velvet bag, in which lay red velvet dresses, white silk scarves and long sarafans made of the same white silk. And at the very bottom of the bag were mixed gold and silver coins, laid out in separate velvet bags, tied with white silk ribbons. Then the princess's face flashed across the sky for a moment. She smiled, waving her hand at the warrior as a farewell. The key also disappeared. Everything, the monster, the tower, everything is gone, everything is over. Yes. She heard Rube's voice. That's it. Quickly you. All. Zahn ran up to her. I was worried. That's all. Thank you, Rub. It's time for us to go. She said, putting the red and gold dust bags into the bag with supplies, took Zahn's hand, having previously bandaged and tied the load to her back, All waved her hand to the old man, and they left. Farewell, brave warrior. He only said. Naruto read another story. The princess really loved red velvet and white silk, he said to himself. The stories are so different. Wait. What time is it? He looked at his watch. Databao. It's already 11. I need to go to bed immediately. And I haven't even eaten ramen yet. But he quickly calmed down, preparing and eating ramen later. I go to bed late, he said, full and already calm. Oh well. It was worth it. Naruto got up quite early. It was only 5 o'clock in the morning, but Uzumaki felt unusually cheerful. Again. Training again? Anything but that. He suddenly yelled across the room. Of course, I was a naive and weak child back then, but when I remember that shame, how I screwed up back then, I'm ready to crawl into the Ninetales' mouth. Although, I've become stronger, because I've studied more and I'm not inferior to Sasuke, which means the fight should be different, but my current strength is not enough to defeat a Jonin. Damn it, and my friends don't know how to work in a team yet. Sigh. So, talking to himself, the boy, formerly an old man, did not even notice how he automatically made his bed, washed himself, got dressed and cooked ramen. Wow. You need to think more, you won't even notice how that nasty time of waiting for the ramen to cook flies by. After breakfast, he sharpened his shurikens and kunai, then went to training. Yeah, right, you can't outsmart me, Kakashi-sensei. I had breakfast this time, although, what good does it do me, I'll be hungry by lunch anyway. Oh, and here's the clearing where we'll wait for him for 2 hours. And here are Sakura and Sasuke. Naruto ran up to them and, as if nothing had happened, sat down under a tree. These 2 hours passed, Uzumaki regretted that he didn't take the book, and Kakashi-sensei appeared on the horizon. You're late. Sakura was indignant. Excuse me, a black cat crossed my path, I had to go around it. Let's start training, he said, taking out the bells. You must take these bells from me, then you will get lunch. And if not, then I will eat it right before your eyes. All your instincts must awaken, you must become predators to take the bells from me. So that's why he told us not to have breakfast. No breakfast? I didn't even have dinner yesterday. Stupid diet. It was, Kakashi-sensei. Why do you only have 2 bells? Sakura asked. Someone will be left without lunch, answered the sensei. And that would be me. Naruto thought. I can't act differently now, he's bound to eventually take us as students for teamwork. I'll have to steal lunch again. Damn. The boy blushed at the thought, out of shame, a Hokage in the past, and he's stealing lunch. Although now he's not a Hokage at all. Just a pathetic weak boy. Begin, said the sensei. Well, Uzumaki said quietly. Shadow cloning. Clones started appearing all around. Kakashi-sensei, put the book away, said the real Naruto. It's impolite to read, even when the opponent is weak and insignificant. You still have to respect him at least for having the courage to stand in front of you on the battlefield. The words didn't seem to affect the sensei, but he was still surprised a stupid-looking child couldn't speak like a grown ninja. These words Naruto once said to his enemy from the Snow Village. Then Konoha had a small conflict with this village, and ninja began to attack the Leaf Village sometimes. At that time, Uzumaki was already the Hokage. He came across a weak opponent, with whom he nevertheless fought seriously. These words he said when that shinobi lost and was surprised why the Hokage did not raise him to the ground, did not say that he would fight only with half his strength. The man from the Snow Village was amazed and returned to his village. And soon the entire village began to respect Konoha, its Hokage. The conflict resolved itself. Well, I'll put the book away. So be it, said the sensei. Naruto pretended to attack, Kakashi also prepared himself, but then Uzumaki did something that no one expected from him. Clones, position number 3 Rasengan. The clones stood in 3 huge circles, glowing with the blue chakra that was in them. If only it works, am I really that weak that I can't perform this technique? I came up with it when I became Hokage, but still, if only it works. What kind of technique is this? Sasuke just stared. Confused. This is a very strong jutsu. How does he know it? What kind of technique is this? I wouldn't be able to copy it with the Sharingan, Kakashi said while clones were running towards him. But I'm still too weak, they can only act in simple positions, my current level is not enough for more. I specially created this technique and spent several months to make it impossible to copy. I did everything to make sure that it could not be copied by Sasuke's or Kakashi-sensei's Sharingan. But the sensei did not try and find out the essence of this technique, so he simply jumped away and disappeared. The clones disappeared. I knew it. I'm still too weak for the clones to stand up and act in other positions. This one is for a frontal attack, and only to deceive the enemy. If I were stronger, then Sensei would be that deceived enemy now. The clones would simply disintegrate and begin to act in position 11, blocking the paths of both the enemy and his clones. While they would run from position 3 or another simple position to position 11, specifically, then the black on top and orange on the bottom inscription Uzumaki would be visible from above. I thought up many positions. But I'll repeat to myself once again, I'm too weak for this now. Now he'll grab me by the leg from behind. And Uzumaki was right. Kakashi appeared from behind and, grabbing the boy by the leg, threw him into the river. The rest of the team had already scattered. Naruto emerged from the water, throwing a couple of shurikens at his sensei, but he caught them. Sakura hid in the bushes, watching Sensei, but then he disappeared from her sight. Hello, Sakura. He appeared from behind. A piercing girlish scream rang out. Sasuke meanwhile met Kakashi face to face. Kato, fireball. What, the student can't have enough energy for this technique. The flames would have almost reached him, but he disappeared. Where? Sasuke asked himself as his breath ran out. Right? Left? Above? He muttered, shaking his head. From below. The voice said, and the sensei's hand grabbed Sasuke's leg, appearing from the ground. Now Sasuke was like a carrot a girl sits in a dungeon, and her braid is on the street. So his head is on the street, and his body is in the ground. Meanwhile, Sakura saw Sasuke. He was covered in wounds. Sakura, help. She ran up to him. Sasuke-kun, and the girl fainted. Meanwhile, Naruto saw a bell under the tree. Okay, screw it. He reached for it, knowing that he was about to hang upside down, but some evil thing made him do it anyway. And a minute later, he was hanging upside down. I really wanted to fall for this. Maybe I should just fool around? I've been serious for too many years. Hokage, he has a hard job. With these words, he began to get out of the rope. We'll have to do Rakuzengo later. Still, the boy got out after seeing the dinner. What, do it again? Okay, I want to fool around. He headed towards the stone where the lunch was lying. Naruto just sat down. He just waited for his sensei to see him. He pretended to steal lunch. And Kakashi saw through him. What are you doing? He asked. And Uzumaki was a pretty good actor. Sensei grabbed the boy and tied him to a log. So, he said, when Naruto was tied up, and Sasuke and Sakura were sitting next to him. You are a terrible team. Sakura, you didn't care about Naruto. Sasuke, you only saw everything as an obstacle in your way, and Naruto acted alone. But I will give you one more chance. Sakura, Sasuke, you will have your lunch left. And Naruto can sit hungry. And don't try to feed him. The sensei said and disappeared. The boys were eating, and Naruto stood hungry and looked at them. Here, Sasuke couldn't resist. There's little use in being hungry. Sasuke-kun, we can't give him food. I'm tied, Naruto said. Sasuke looked at Sakura. Okay. But don't think it's personal, I'm only here for the team. She said, bringing the chopsticks with rice to his lips. Good. Thank you. He had only eaten a couple of spoons when Kakashi-sensei appeared. I told you not to give him food, you disobeyed the order. How do you explain it? We are a team, we must help each other. Sakura said. So, you justify yourself by working in a team? Yes. Sasuke and Sakura answered in unison. You passed. They did not expect that. You understood that the most important thing is teamwork. Of course, orders must be followed, but teamwork is important. And you understood that. Here he pointed to the very stone on which the lunch was lying. On this stone is the name of my friend. Here are the names of all the great UVB killed in battle. Naruto knew this very well now, and Kakashi understood. A few years later the name of his friend appeared on this stone. Hyuga Neji. Well, since you passed, tomorrow is our first mission. We'll meet at the bridge, then we'll go to the Hokage. And that's it for today. Until tomorrow. At 6 o'clock in the morning. Kakashi said and disappeared. The guys dispersed, and Naruto ran off to train. Sorry that there weren't all the details of the canon fight. If you're interested in what Rakuzengo is, you'll find out later. Rank D Naruto got up reluctantly today. He trained so hard yesterday that his whole body ached today. And besides, he didn't remember anything about his first mission, except that it was a D-rank mission, so he had no idea what to expect from it. Well, if we had been attacked during this mission, I would have remembered. Naruto thought out loud. Yesterday he hadn't even had the time, or energy, to read another story about O, and that didn't make him want to do anything at all. Reading about the difficult life of this incredible woman had become a necessity for him, and not knowing what happened to her afterwards was depressing. Well, never mind, once the mission is over, I'll definitely read it. Well, where's my ramen already? After breakfast, Naruto sharpened his kunai again and got ready for the mission. He left his room, locked it, and went to the meeting place. Sasuke was already on the bridge. Sakura was almost there. Looking at Uzumaki, Sasuke only chuckled in irritation. What an arrogant bastard. Although, now he's a boy. I recognize him at 13, little strength and a lot of self-importance. Naruto thought, standing at a distance from him. Good morning, Sasuke-kun. Sakura's shrill voice cut through the calm morning atmosphere and the murmuring sound of water. Hello, Sakura, Uzumaki greeted the girl somewhat indifferently. And without his signature Sakura-chan. The girl seemed not to notice him before. Leave me alone, Naruto. At this point the boy fell silent, lost in his thoughts, similar to Sasuke, and Sakura said something, blushing and smiling shyly, to Uchiha, who, however, did not listen to her. Thus, 2 hours and 3 minutes passed. Hello, guys. Kakashi greeted, having just appeared. Kakashi-sensei, you're late. Again. Sakura screamed. Again. Sorry, I got lost on the road of life, Hataki answered. Let's go to the Hokage. The guys and sensei reached the residence. So, your mission. D-rank. Its goal is to pull out all the weeds from Suzumi-san's garden. Sarutobi spoke with some pauses. Taking the sheet with the assignment. Kakashi and the guys went to this very Suzumi-san. Having reached the place, they set to work. But then Uzumaki felt like he was hit in the brain with adrenaline, and he decided to quickly deal with this matter. In fact, he wanted to play the fool again. After pulling out a few weeds, he decided to pull out a large weed sticking out of the ground on the second half of the garden. Resolutely standing up, he was about to run towards the weed, but suddenly tripped over something, ran into Sasuke, knocking him to the ground, stood up, shook himself off. All the blades of grass and particles of earth from Naruto's clothes landed neatly on Sasuke's clothes, ran, knocking Uchiha, who had just begun to get up and had not yet come to his senses, onto his back, then, having run about 2 meters, tripped over something again, did a somersault in the air, and then a somersault and landed a couple of centimeters from that very weed, merging with the lawn of Suzumi-san in a passionate kiss. Sakura was furious. Kakashi looked at Uzumaki, who was lying in the same position as when he landed, laughing and cursing like he was an idiot, and Sasuke, who had already come to his senses, was shaking himself off, mentally killing the blonde boy for the 10th time in a row with the most terrible technique in the world. Naruto. Naruto heard Haruno's disgusting scream before he was knocked out by her kick, which sent Uzumaki flying into the air and flipping over, landing on his back after Sakura punched his comrade in the jaw. Author's note, I would have killed her, damn it. The boy woke up at home. He was fine, although his head hurt a little. But, in general, everything was fine. That's why he didn't end up in the hospital. Are you okay, Naruto? Kakashi-sensei's calm voice, reading his perverted book, was heard nearby, causing Uzumaki to scream at the top of his lungs. Kakashi-sensei? How did you end up here? He sat up in bed. I was here, Naruto. You passed out from Sakura's blow, but everything is fine. At least it saved you from what Sasuke wanted to do to you. Well, okay, I'll go, and you rest today. Tomorrow, at the same place, at the same time, we'll meet to learn about the next mission. Kakashi said and disappeared, having previously closed the book. As if he'd be here on time, Naruto grumbled. He will never change. But that is what makes him the Kakashi Hatake I knew and know now. The boy smiled at his thoughts. Huh. Well, now I'll read another story about all. Equals 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 bummer equals 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 equals. But Naruto was not destined to read the story he wanted. Someone knocked on his door. Naruto-kun, hello, he would recognize this whisper behind the door anywhere. This is Hinata. It's open, he said lazily, hiding his displeasure. Naruto-kun, aren't you hungry? I brought you, bento. The girl handed him a box wrapped in a blue cloth. Thanks. He took the bento. Are you okay, Naruto-kun? The girl kept blushing as she stood next to him. She had previously approached his bed after she was allowed to enter. Yes, everything is fine, Uzumaki answered, pointing her to a chair next to the bed he was currently sitting on. Hinata blushed and sat down in the indicated place. Are you okay? She asked. Yes, something's wrong? I just heard that today and, she hesitated, putting the fist of her right hand to her lips and, blushing, looked away. I see, but everything is fine. Well, here we go again. I lived with her for so many years, I always hated the face she has now. Those eyes, that look, not at all like the look of those green, either still sparkling, or faded eyes. Naruto thought until he was interrupted. Naruto-kun, if you need anything, say it. And again all red, and shaking. What kind of kindergarten is this? No, Hinata, everything is fine, the boy smiled. He told her a couple of jokes that he had learned in his past life in other villages and countries, sitting in the company of friendly simpletons and shinobi, tired after work, with a glass of sake and playing cards. Even in the company of one's own. Many things were told after missions, instructions to students and the like. Hinata laughed, telling Naruto that he was funny. Naruto smiled. Then she went home, and Uzumaki walked her to the door. It's a shame that I didn't read the story, but at least I talked to someone, he thought when the door closed behind Hyuga. Although, when I started reading the stories about all, some feeling woke up inside. I only look like a boy, but I'm an adult. I'm in love. In love with these stories. But now I need to sleep and try Hinata's treat before that. Then I'll read it some other time. It's already late, he glanced at his watch. I really need to rest, we have a mission tomorrow. Well, reading later then, that's the bummer. Sorry, the chapter is short, this is a bonus from me for the fact that there was no continuation for a long time. And I just leaked the chapter about all, because I don't feel like writing at all. For now. Equals something's wrong. Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura with Kakashi stood in the residence, having just finished a mission and watching the plump wife of the ruler of the Land of Fire hugging her cat Toru. If I were a cat, I would run away again and immediately drown in a puddle. Naruto thought melancholically. So, the next mission for the 7th Kakashi group, the 3rd Hokage began, looking at the sheet of paper and holding a pipe in his teeth. Work in a nursing home, go on an errand to a neighboring village, help with the harvest. Sarutobi's intonation made it unclear whether this was a statement, or a question. But, why? Shouldn't he have given us the task of guarding Tazuna-san? Something's wrong. I'm missing something, of course. No way. Remembering how exactly Team 7 received this mission, Uzumaki rebelled. No, thanks. He crossed his arms before saying this, I want something more complicated and interesting, not this childish babble. He remembered what he said then. I agree. Sasuke thought. He whines all the time. Sakura was indignant in her mind. I knew it would be like this, Kakashi thought with a plaintive expression on his face. But then Iruka spoke up, whom, let's face it, Naruto hadn't even noticed before. How dare you? You're still so green. Newbies always do the most basic tasks. But our missions are completely pointless. Immediately after these words, Uzumaki dodged Hataki's blow. That's enough, said the sensei, slightly surprised that Naruto was able to dodge the blow. The latter, not wanting to listen to the Hokage's words again, frowned. I understand that genin perform D-rank missions exclusively. However, when a shinobi becomes a chunin, he immediately starts receiving C-rank and B-rank missions. Yes, he passed the chunin exam and is worthy of being called one, but if he has no experience, he can easily fail the mission. C-rank is already a serious rank in itself, if we are talking about a person's life. And B-rank is no joke. When Naruto became Hokage, he revised the rank system. Therefore, while ninja were genin, they were given a C-rank mission 3 times, days and weeks could pass between these times. If the ninja was good, he was given C-rank missions, where he had to protect a person from bandits in the forest, etc. The same thing with chunin, sometimes they were given A-rank missions. Of course, the strongest chunin were given the softest missions, let's put it that way. Sarutobi raised his voice, stopping everyone else from responding to Neru's words. You sound like an adult. Human, well then. Then I'll give you a C-rank mission, as you requested. You'll be guards. Yes, some were taken aback by Uzumaki's words, some were outraged, and some were slightly surprised. It was hard to take them seriously from the mouth of such a small creature. In addition, despite the fact that the boy studied just great and did everything right, since he studied and trained, he still remained a prankster. Of course, he painted the Hokage's faces more modestly then, since he respected each of them, but this was the only opportunity to spend a little time with Iruka-sensei and eat noodles. At his expense. I'll show you our guest, said the third. Everyone present turned their gaze to the door. A second later, Tazuna opened it. What the hell? They're just kids. He moistened his throat with something and took another sip. Especially the little one with the stupid face. There was a drunken blush on his cheeks. Are you really a ninja? Yes, Naruto answered calmly, already knowing that they were talking to him. I am Tazuna, the architect, the man said, taking another sip from the bottle. You will protect me on my way to my land, where I am building a bridge. I hope that you will ensure my safety even at the cost of your own lives. Huh? Why are you so happy? Sakura asked the beaming Naruto. Well, just like that, the first time in my life I'm leaving the village. I remember that feeling very well when I left here for the first time. I don't think this guy is up to the task, Tazuna muttered under his breath. At first he seemed like a nasty, disgusting drunkard to me too, Uzumaki, who had heard everything, answered mentally. As the ninja and the architect walked, Kakashi-sensei told them about the hidden villages and such. Naru listened without much enthusiasm, because he knew about all this. But he was overcome with nostalgia, and from this his soul became somehow warm. When Hataki started talking about the Hokage, Sakura admired how strong the Hokage was, but in reality, she thought something completely different. And Naruto understood that perfectly well. I completely forgot how hypocritical she was back then. Soon a bridge appeared ahead, and everyone went towards it, but a ninja was hiding in a puddle. Naruto remembered this, after so many years, but blamed himself for the fact that now his observation skills were not so good. However, it is not surprising, he became the same. But suddenly, when Tazuna and Team 7 crossed the bridge, this ninja jumped out of the water and chained Kakashi with some kind of chains. No, 2 people chained him. One appeared after. Finish him off, someone said. Everyone watched in shock as Hataki's body fell to the ground in a bloody mess, but Uzumaki knew that the sensei was much stronger than they thought. Sakura screamed. Suddenly the ninja appeared behind Naruto, laughing evilly. Now it's your turn, one of them said again. The monsters swung their chains again, and the boy turned around, looking at them melancholically. Sasuke would intercede anyway. And so it happened, and Uchiha threw a shuriken at one of the chains, pinning it to a tree. And then he threw a kunai into the hole of the shuriken. Oops, only now Uzumaki noticed that there was only one chain, and these ninjas were holding it from different ends. I can't move, one of these monsters hissed. Sasuke approached them, jumping onto the metal things that were on one of the hands of each of the enemies and with which they held the chain, and then, leaning on his hands where his legs had just been, he kicked each of them in the face at the same time. The ninja suddenly let go of the chain. One ran to Naruto, and the other to Tazuna and Sakura. I have to stop them. Hide behind me, Haruno said, taking out a kunai and blocking the architect with her body. The enemy ninja was already raising his hand to strike, but then Sasuke instantly appeared in front of Sakura. And suddenly that ninja was grabbed by the throat from behind. Kakashi? Naruto looked at him indifferently. Oh, it turns out he's holding two. Hello, said the sensei. Ah, Sensei Kakashi. He's alive. Sakura rejoiced, and her cheeks turned red. Show off. The emotions on Yuriha's face were hard to explain, it would have been easier to just laugh. Huh, this is the most primitive trick. Body substitution. Everyone turned to the place where the remains of their sensei should have been, but there were only logs lying there. Naruto, the teacher addressed the boy, turning around. I'm sorry I'm late. I didn't want you to get hurt. But I didn't think you'd stand there like that. He turned around and walked towards the others. This time it went smoothly. Tazuna thought tensely. Well done, Sasuke, said Hitaki, approaching him. Sakura, you too, he looked at the girl. Naruto didn't think about anything, unlike last time. Hey, are you hurt, kid? Sasuke addressed the boy mockingly. The blonde remained silent. Naruto, their claws were poisoned. You need to treat the wounds. You need to cleanse yourself of the poisonous blood. Don't move, that way the poison will spread faster. Mr. Tazuna, he suddenly turned to the architect. Yes? What? We need to talk. These are Chunin, Kakashi began as everyone gathered around the tree, looking at the bound ninja. From the village hidden in the mist. They are considered to be selfless warriors. How did you foresee the attack? One of the enemies asked angrily. A puddle. It hasn't rained for a long time. The puddle seemed suspicious to me. So they weren't hiding in a puddle, they were it. Naruto thought. You knew in advance, but why did you let them attack? Tazuna asked. I could have destroyed them right away, but I had to find out what their goal was. What they wanted. Kakashi stared at the architect. What are you getting at? The latter asked, either indignantly or not. Hitaki turned to him. I wanted to know if they were hunting us, the ninja, or you, the bridge's architect. In your application, you didn't specify that you were being pursued by ninja. You asked for protection from armed bandits. And this is at least a B-rank mission. Tazuna's expression darkened. But we didn't know that. We thought you needed to finish the bridge. If we'd known we'd have to deal with ninja, we would have chosen other warriors for this. Of course, you have your reasons, but we won't put up with deliberate deception. This is not what we expected. The architect frowned. We're not ready for this yet. We need to go back. And help Naruto as soon as possible. We need to show him to a doctor in the village. Faster. Sakura said guiltily. Naruto will jeopardize the mission, Kakashi sighed. We're going back to the village. I'll do it. Naruto took out a kunai and pierced his hand through. Tazuna, Sasuke, and Sakura stared at this in shock. Sensei was surprised too. Then Naruto gave his fiery speech, listened to Sakura's reproaches and Kakashi's words that now Uzumaki could die from blood loss. Only this time Naruto was not afraid. When the teacher began to treat the blonde's wound, he saw how it was healing before his eyes. Self-healing is the property of the nine-tailed fox. Then everyone started to continue on their way. I should be ashamed for standing there and doing nothing. Naruto thought. And I am ashamed. But it was necessary. I had to feel that shame again, so that it would fuel me. Although, What kind of shame is there when I saved them all when I became Hokage, even Tazuna, dozens of times? But it fueled me. I will give it my all in the next battles, however. Equals 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 back to reality equals 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 equals. Next time I'll give it my all. That was the last thing Naruto heard. Then, hearing loud voices somewhere behind the wall, or so it seemed to him, he suddenly opened his eyes and realized that he was in a bed. Raising himself up a little, Uzumaki looked at his legs. They were covered by a white sheet. Not understanding where he was, Naruto looked around the place where he was now. White walls, curtains, a nightstand and an iron bed. He was definitely in a hospital. The blonde man turned his head sharply to the left, towards the door. Voices were heard behind it. Some woman was yelling something, indignant, and, apparently, the overly timid nurse was trying to calm her down and justify herself. Something strange was going on in Uzumaki's head. He didn't understand how he ended up in the hospital, nor. But suddenly something clicked in his head and everything immediately fell into place. 2 years ago Naruto and Sasuke finished the final battle with each other, and a week ago the blonde felt discomfort, but like the last fool he ignored his poor health. Are you awake? Suddenly, the same timid nurse entered Naruto's room. Yes, how did I get here and how long have I been in the hospital? 2 days. Sasuke-san brought you yesterday, saying that you lost consciousness right on the street. You are sick, but because it dragged on for a whole week, you are even more seriously ill. You will have to lie here for a while. By the way, you should eat. This girl of about 20 years old blushed for some reason. You slept for 2 whole days. With these words she left, bowing. Uzumaki smiled tenderly, albeit weakly. This cute brunette with a short haircut, who had been hesitantly hugging a large white folder to herself all this time, was really cute. But suddenly the guy remembered Kyoshi and the second life she had given him. He remembered all. So, was it all a dream? Naruto either asked or said to himself hoarsely and quietly. I see. Hideko and the 3 sons, even in my dream I was the Hokage. It's kind of a shame. He lay down tiredly, closing his eyes and placing the palm of his left hand on them, but in a rather interesting place. By the way, the blonde's pupils suddenly dilated, but a second later they returned to normal. Turning onto his right side and putting his right hand under his head, Uzumaki closed his eyes again, smiling. He decided to try to fall asleep again before they brought him something to eat. All this time the guy did not pay attention to the heaviness in his chest, but he already began to feel relief and realized that he was falling asleep. And, falling asleep again, he hoped that this time he would dream of all. An open window. A light breeze blows through it into the room, blowing on the curtains and making them float near the ceiling. Naruto was lying on the bed, barely breathing. Of course, because every breath was given with great difficulty and was given with terrible pain. Yes, his time is already approaching. It is clear, because almost 100 years have passed since the 4th world, and besides, 95 years have passed since Naruto became the 7th Hokage. No Hokage has ruled for so long. Naruto was waiting for his death, saying goodbye to the young generation of shinobi. All the old Hokage's friends have long been in the next world. His beloved woman, wife, children. Yes, Hinata is undoubtedly his wife, but his beloved woman will always remain Sakura. Of course, Naruto will always love his sons more than all. This was such happiness for him, even though Sakura was not their mother. But Sasuke was also unlucky with his beloved. He never loved Sakura, but no one else would agree to revive the Uchiha clan. Everyone considered him a traitor. His own daughter did not respect him. Yes, Sasuke had done some bad things in his time. And Naruto still blamed himself for it. The latter looked out the window, enjoying the last minutes of solitude and watched as Ino and Shikamaru's great-granddaughter Aika trained to throw kunai with Sakura and Sasuke's great-granddaughter Chiesa. The old Hokage also watched Ten and Lee's great-grandson Isao, who was training. He watched as Shikamaru and Ino's great-grandson with Choji's great-grandson Fumio and Hajime ate chips and looked at the clouds. Hello, Grandpa. The door opened, and a woman of about 40 and a girl of about 11 entered the room. Haruko, Hideko, Naruto exhaled and immediately winced in pain. You can't tell me, Grandpa, Haruko said. Hello, Hokage-sama. The door opened, and the firstborn of Sasuke and Sakura, Takashi, walked into the room. Hidiko's father. The Hokage wanted to cry so much, he sees his loved ones. If only Yukio, Yutaka, and Yudai were here, his 3 sons. The girl didn't say a word. Although she wanted to burst into tears and scream "Don't die." Naruto smiled, remembering his whole life for the last time, thought about what a good Hokage his heir, Makoto, would be, and, hearing, as if through cotton wool, Hidiko's cry "Don't die," the whisper of his granddaughter and her husband "Goodbye, goodbye," he closed his eyes and left forever. Naruto opened his eyes. Am I dead already? Yes, he died. He heard. The voice clearly belonged to a woman. The Hokage looked around, standing up. From the fog? Yes, there was only darkness and dark purple fog all around. The owner of the voice came out of it. My name is Kyoshi. I am a Shinigami. She came up close to Naruto and laughed. What's funny? Where am I? And if you're a Shinigami, are there more than one? What do you mean? Kyoshi didn't understand. Well, with the help of the Death God's technique, the 9 tails was sealed into me. I thought that there was only one Shinigami. It's all clear. The Shinigami grinned. By the way, Kyoshi was not scary at all, but beautiful. A beautiful woman stood before him. Her white curls fluttered as if in the wind in the darkness. She did not look like a Shinigami at all. Except for her eyes, black with a strange pattern instead of pupils. Something familiar. Exactly, Sasuke had a seal of Orochimaru similar to this pattern. Only the kamas had spirals instead of heads. The pattern was blue. What is clear? Naruto couldn't understand her. Your father actually sealed the demon into you not through the real god of death, but only through a fake. Even Rakudo Sennin couldn't tame a real Shinigami, and besides, Shinigami look like humans. But this is our creation. We created it so that people would not try to invent us in vain as a tool for their techniques. There are only 5 of us, and we love people very much. But why am I here? Well, I pulled you out of the flight to another world and am holding you in a hole between the lower and higher other worlds. Why? Let me go. You still act like a boy. Despite the years that have passed. Kyoshi laughed brightly. What? Look. She handed him a mirror, in which he saw himself. Only not a 114-year-old man, but a 6-year-old boy. How? Haha. It's all me. I did it to give you a second chance. What? The Hokage was frankly dumb. To survive your life. After all, it was not happy. Everyone who could betrayed you, friends died. Maybe the 4th World War will not even start. But it's impossible. And how do you know about my father? I'm a Shinigami. And it's possible. You want it, right? He really wanted to. At least see his friends, Sakura. But there is one but. Kyoshi watched the Hokage. What? He was surprised. If you change the past, the future will change. She became serious. Naruto couldn't decide. He wanted to see them all so much, and most importantly, not let Sasuke go to Orochimaru. But what about the future? Although, what would change if Niji stayed alive, and Cho, Sasuke's daughter, would respect her father? Unless there would be a few more people, because Niji would probably find someone for himself. And his friend would have lived all these wonderful years after the war. I agree, Naruto said firmly. Good. Only you will not appear at birth, but at 6 years old. I open a portal between worlds. She said, touching a wall with her hand, which seemed to exude fog. The wall lit up with a blue flash, and already a boy, Naruto found himself at home on his bed. It was dirty all around. What a pig I was. Naruto said and started cleaning. An hour later, everything was ready. Then the alarm rang, 6 o'clock in the morning. So, first to a Chiraka ramen, and then to training. Only, the boy looked at his bag and quickly began to shake out the weapons from it. That's what I thought. Need to sharpen. Having said this, Naruto quickly began to sharpen the kunai and shuriken. He wanted to sharpen them with his technique, which he invented when he was Hokage, but he remembered that he did not know this technique yet, so nothing came of it. Well, he had to sharpen the weapons in the way known to all shinobi. When the work was finished, it was already 8 o'clock. Naruto got ready and went to Ichiraku, and at the same time threw away the rotten milk on the way, from which his stomach always hurt after drinking. So he reached Ichiraku. "Hello, Naruto." The owner of the diner answered cheerfully. "Good afternoon," Naruto said with tears in his eyes. He sees them. This man he knew from childhood and his daughter Ayam, he sees them alive. And without responding to Ayam's cheerful greeting, he rushed to them and hugged them. "I'm so glad to see you." The boy almost cried. "What's wrong, Naruto?" Ayam was surprised. Nothing. Just like that. You're weird today." "Well, I guess it'll go away if you try my ramen. It's free," the owner said. "Thank you," Naruto answered through tears. "Well, don't cry, everything is fine." Ayam's soothing voice plunged her into nostalgia. "Okay," Naruto replied, calming down in the girl's embrace. "You're as kind to me as always." Naruto ate his fill of ramen, and it wasn't because he was overeating, he just missed that wonderful taste, and the reason wasn't the ramen itself, but the cook's hands. Yes, this man always makes ramen better than anyone else. The ramen he made became mom's borscht for Naruto. "Thanks for the treat," Naruto said, coming out from behind the counter. "Have a good training, come again, Naruto," Ayam shouted. Naruto went into the forest. There he trained. Threw shurikens and kunai, tried to make a Rasengan again. The boy didn't even pay attention to the sidelong and angry glances people were giving him. He was just glad to see them again. Of course, the Rasengan didn't work right away. After all, the memory remained, but the skills became miserable again. Yes, what a weakling I was, but strength always comes where weakness left. Hee. Naruto smiled, continuing to meditate. After sitting like that for 30 minutes, the boy began to pop the balloon. After 40 times, it worked. The sun was already setting. It was time to return. Naruto was walking, no time to walk in the park. No one would be happy there anyway. So, home, and the children and parents are already leaving. So it's time for Naruto to go. The boy came home, did all his chores and went to bed. And so the whole year went by, while Naruto trained and prepared himself for the meeting with Sakura, with his friends, and, most importantly, for the meeting with Sasuke. This day tomorrow is the ceremony of entering the Ninja Academy. As usual, the alarm rang. Naruto got up, got dressed, and did all his chores. Right after that, he ran to the Ninja Academy. Today he would see them all, he would see Iruka-sensei and many others. But most importantly, he would see Sasuke and Sakura. But this time, he would not give in to Sasuke in anything. Everyone was already standing in front of the academy with their loved ones. Naruto stood in the line of the new generation of aspiring ninja. But you can't talk to anyone, they'll misunderstand. They're not friends yet. After Iruka-sensei's boring and tedious speech, everyone went into the academy. Everything was so familiar, everyone sat down in their seats. Well, as in their own. Many girls liked Sasuke right away, and they were figuring out who would get the right to sit next to Sasuke, but these girls were not Sakura and Ino yet. This right to sit with Sasuke, of course, fell to Naruto. While the boys were being told what awaited them, Naruto kept his eyes on Sasuke. What? The brunette couldn't resist. Huh? Nothing, just, Naruto came to his senses and stared at the teacher. The brunette chuckled in confusion. And so the first day at the academy passed. Although, of course, the first day would only begin tomorrow, but the blonde was already waiting for the day when he and Sasuke would have a fight. Then he, Sasuke, would see that Naruto was a worthy opponent. But he would have to wait a very long time for that. For Naruto, of course, a few days, a very long time. In the meantime, the boy trudged off to his favorite Ichiraku ramen. Hello. Naruto smiled. Ah, Naruto, you've become a frequent visitor to my Ichiraku. Yes, it's so delicious. Glad to hear it. After the 10th plate, the boy went to train. He still couldn't do the Rasengan. Yes, when Granny Tsunade gave him a kick and dared him, he mastered the technique in a week. But now no one can give him a kick. Or maybe forget it? That Rasengan. I'll do it later, when I meet the perverted hermit. Everything has its time. With these words, Naruto returned home, but again began to notice these looks. Looks full of hatred and evil. The blonde tried not to pay attention. It didn't work out very well, but it still worked out. Naruto somehow made it home without grimacing at the suffering and loneliness he had once experienced. Much more pleasant were the thoughts that he saw old faces again. Familiar faces, and Mizuki. Yes, that bastard Mizuki. Naruto cleaned up his room again and went to bed. And tomorrow he will study, he needs to gain strength. Although, he has more than